know exist. It's like a perk in the talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look me better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheap again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of What If Naruto Enters Kingdom Hearts Verse. Special note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of K.F.B. Anime 87 and Thanatos 125 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the authors too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. I refuse to lose to these fools, Kaguya thought, as she was almost sealed away. She then opened up a portal, which got everyone's attention. What's she up to now? Sasuke asked, as he watched the portal, which was pitch black. I've no idea, but I don't like it, Naruto said as he saw what looked like yellow eyes staring at them all, and they looked like they were filled with hunger. Suddenly, creatures started swarming out of the portal like a tornado of pure darkness and attacked the shinobi. So the Heartless do exist, Kaguya said with a smirk as she was sealed away. I may have lost, but you all will lose your whole world, she said as she laughed before she was completely sealed. I don't like what she just said, Sakura said as she punched one of the strange creatures. These things are unaffected by our weapons, Kakashi said, as he ducked under one swipe to his head. Back off, Naruto yelled, as he tried stabbing at one of these creatures with a kunai, but it was barely affected as it then threw him a ways back. Naruto, these things are darkness incarnate. You can't win, Kurama said, worried about him. What are these things? Naruto thought at Kurama as he dodged their attacks. They are called the Heartless, and you need to move and find your pale-eyed friend now, Kurama yelled urgently. Hinata? Why? What's she got to do with this? Naruto asked. I'll explain later. Now move, Kurama roared at him. Naruto started running, while dodging incoming Heartless, who tried to stop him from advancing. Soon, Naruto saw Hinata surrounded by Heartless of all types and sizes, as a pool of darkness was sucking her into the ground. Hinata! Naruto yelled as he ran to her, but was slowed down as his feet were caught in a pool of darkness. Naruto, help me, Hinata yelled, as she tried to claw her way out of the darkness. Grab my hand, Naruto yelled at her as he tried reaching for her, as she did the same. The darkness was slowly consuming them, as their hands reached for each other, but eventually they were overcome and covered by the darkness as their hands touched for a brief moment. Hinata, Naruto thought, as his vision was overcome by the darkness. Naruto felt like he was falling in an infinite pit of darkness, and as he fell he saw a dim light in front of him. Do you want the power to fight? A voice asked him. What kind of question is that? Of course I do, Naruto said, sounding determined, as he wanted to save Hinata no matter what. Your world has been lost to the Heartless. You must use your light to fight the darkness and save the 7 lights, before evil can use them to bring the ultimate darkness, the voice said as Naruto floated towards the light. I don't understand, Naruto said in a confused voice. Seek the wizard Merlin in Traverse Town, the voice said as Naruto reached for the light as he got closer, before he was suddenly taken over by it. An alleyway. A little blue creature that looked like a koala was rummaging through a garbage can when something caught his attention. A bright light appeared in an alleyway before it faded, showing an unconscious Naruto. Ooh, the blue creature said, as he crawled to the unconscious Naruto and started sniffing him curiously. Naruto groaned as he woke up and looked around. Where am I? He asked before rubbing his head. I have no clue, kid, but I'm assuming you had a strong enough heart to survive our world getting taken by the Heartless, so you ended up here, Kurama said. My world is gone? Naruto asked in shock, as he processed what Kurama said. Yes, the Heartless consume everything from people's hearts to the hearts of worlds themselves. At least that's what my dad told me about them long ago, Kurama said to him. Do you know if anyone else survived too? Naruto asked, as he tried to be positive and hopeful. It's a possibility, and if any of them did, they could have either ended up here the same as us, or on another world, Kurama said. Great. I'm gonna go look for them then, Naruto said as he got up off the ground. and looked around and soon spotted the blue koala creature looking at him. "Villiany," the creature said, as it gave him a toothy grin and waved its paw at him. Well, at least it's friendly, Naruto thought as he knelt down to look at the strange creature better. "Hey little guy, what's your name?" he asked. "Mega Stitch," the creature said in greeting. "Well, nice to meet you, Stitch. I'm Naruto. You know where I am?" Naruto asked his new friend. Stitch said, nodding his head, as he ran down the alley and turned to look at Naruto, and jumped up and down to get his attention. "I think he wants you to follow him, kid," Kurama said, finding the creature to be interesting. Naruto followed Stitch, and eventually he was led to a town square which had all sorts of different people walking about. Stitch pulled on Naruto's leg and pointed at a sign that said "Welcome to Traverse Town." "Traverse Town, huh? That's the place that Voice said to find Merlin," Naruto said. He then looked down at Stitch and asked, "Do you know where I can find someone called Merlin?" Stitch's ears perked up, and he babbled something in another language. "You want to try and say that again?" Naruto asked, as he understood none of what Stitch had said. Stitch thought for a moment, and then snapped his fingers like an idea just came to him. "Follow," he said as he crawled away. Naruto gave a shrug and followed Stitch at a steady pace. Eventually, they came to a run-down old cottage with a door that looked like it was barely staying on its hinges. Stitch pointed at the door and started babbling in his alien language again. "This is where Merlin is living?" Naruto asked as he stood next to Stitch. Stitch said, nodding. Naruto pet Stitch on the head. "Thanks, buddy," he said as he then approached the door and knocked. Yes, I'm coming," an old man's voice said, as Naruto heard some things being shifted. Suddenly the door opened, and an old man dressed in a blue wizard's robe appeared. "Yes?" he asked, looking at Naruto. Are you Merlin?" Naruto asked, as he looked at the man curiously. "Indeed, I am, my boy. What brings you here?" the now revealed Merlin asked him. "Well, I lost my world, and a voice told me to find you. And thanks to Stitch here, I was able to find you," Naruto explained to him. Merlin looked at Naruto and then Stitch. "Ah, it's you again. How did you meet this young man?" Merlin asked Stitch, as he leaned over as much as he could. Stitch looked at Merlin and started babbling again in his alien language. Now, Stitch, I taught you basic English to get by," Merlin said, as he shook his head. "Found Naruto in an alley. Bright light appears. Smells like a keyblade," Stitch said, in rough English. Merlin's eyes widened in surprise, hearing the word keyblade. Come, my friends, join me for tea. You both look like you could use some, along with a bit of food too, I must say," he said as he let them into his home. When Naruto entered, he saw it was much bigger on the inside than the outside, and he had all kinds of stuff laid about everywhere. "So tell me, my boy, did this voice tell you anything else?" Merlin asked as a plate of sandwiches floated over, before landing on the table. "Yes, it told me to use my light to fight the Heartless. But I have no clue what it means," Naruto said, as he sat down and helped himself to a ham and cheese sandwich. "Means summon Keyblade," Stitch said as he sat and took several sandwiches in his hands, as he grew another set of arms under his first pair of arms. This took Naruto completely by surprise, as he almost fell over in shock. "Manners," Stitch Merlin said as he sat down. "But yes, Stitch is correct. You obviously have the ability to summon a Keyblade, if you survived your world being destroyed and heard a voice tell you to use your light to fight back," he said. "And what exactly is a Keyblade, and how do I summon it?" Naruto asked him, as he wanted to know. "It's a weapon that is capable of defeating the Heartless. They fear the Keyblade. All you must do is focus and try calling it to your hand," Merlin said to him. Naruto held out his hand and looked at it and closed his eyes and tried to focus. Come on, Naruto thought, and as he concentrated he felt a power deep inside and tried to bring it out. Suddenly, in a bright flash of light, a Keyblade appeared in his hand. It looked about the length of a regular sword, but Naruto noticed something else about it. "It's a giant key," Naruto said flatly, as he inspected it and saw the teeth of the Keyblade were in the shape of the symbol of Konoha. Yes, but it's still a legendary weapon. And the only thing that the Heartless fear," Merlin said as he poured them some tea. "So how exactly do I use it?" Naruto asked him. "Fight Heartless," Stitch said as he laughed maniacally. Indeed, you use it like a sword. It may be blunt, but it can hurt people, if its user wishes, Merlin said as he drank the tea from his cup. Any other abilities it has? Naruto asked, as he looked at the blade with wonder and amazement. Several actually, as it can unlock any lock easily. And you can use magic spells to attack with, and only you can use it. If anyone else tries, it will return to you instantly, Merlin said. Anything else I should know? Naruto asked, looking at Merlin. Yes, if you want to help other worlds, you will need to find the keyholes in each world you visit, Merlin said. Keyholes? Naruto asked curiously. They are the path to a world's heart. If you lock it, the Heartless can't destroy that world, Merlin said. And how do I get to these other worlds? Naruto asked as he drank his tea, before helping himself to another sandwich. With a vessel or a ship, Merlin said to him. Great, I don't have one, Naruto said, sounding dejected. Don't worry about that, my boy. There are plenty of ships in town. I'm sure you could convince someone to help you once they find out you are a Keyblade user, Merlin said. Why would they care? Naruto asked, thinking no one would help him. Well, everyone here in Traverse Town lost their world to the Heartless. That's why Traverse Town exists in the first place, Merlin said, with his arms folded. So if I'm going after the Heartless, then some people will want to help me, Naruto said in understanding as he nodded his head. Exactly. I would suggest trying to recruit a few people to watch your back as well. Even with the Keyblade, you're not invincible, Merlin said. Stitch started jumping up and down excitedly as he said, Stitch wants help. Stitch strong fighter, as he threw a few punches. Indeed, Stitch is a powerhouse, and would be very helpful to you, Merlin said with a smile. Sure. Stitch has already helped me out a bit, so sure. I would be glad to have him help, Naruto said with a smile at Stitch. Very good. I would suggest you go into town and go to the bar called the Seventh Heaven to seek some comrades for your journey, and here, Merlin said as he summoned a bag and handed it to Naruto. It's some gold coins and jewels for your journey, so you can get some supplies if you need to. Thanks, Merlin, Naruto said as he took the bag and sealed it away. No problem, my boy. And if you ever need my guidance, feel free to return here, Merlin said as Naruto and Stitch got up to leave. Stitch will lead you to the bar I suggested. And you'll also have to be careful. Heartless have been showing up in town lately, Merlin said as he held open the door for Naruto and Stitch. Thanks again, old man, Naruto said as he and Stitch walked off. Merlin gave a laugh at being called an old man, as he hadn't been called something like that in a long time. Seventh Heaven Bar. Not the worst bar I have been in, Naruto said as he entered, and looked around seeing all kinds of people, even a few aliens. Wow, so aliens do exist, Naruto said as he sat at the bar, with a normal-looking guy a few seats from him and some kind of alien on the other side. Stitch alien, Stitch said as he sat on a stool next to Naruto. Really? I thought you were a mutated koala or something, Naruto said with a smile as Stitch growled. Ha, you're not the first to think that about him, Whiskers, a woman said as she approached him. Whoa, Naruto thought, while fighting a blush as he looked at the woman. She had long dark brown hair, which would sometimes look black if you looked at it from an angle, while falling below her waist, and it was tied at the tips so that it formed a dolphin tail split. She was wearing a white tank top and a black miniskirt with a belt and suspenders. She also had what looked like red and black battle gloves on, and a metal guard in her left elbow. Eyes up here, Whiskers, the woman said, pointing at her face with a smile. I'm sorry, Naruto said as he rubbed the back of his head nervously. Stitch laughed, seeing Naruto nervous around a woman. Quite you, Naruto said as he gave Stitch a glare. Relax, Whiskers, you're not the first to check me out. At least you didn't leer like others do. The name's Tifa Lockhart, the woman said as she held out her hand to Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said, feeling more relaxed as he shook her hand. So what brings you to my bar, Naruto? Tifa asked with a smile as she leaned against the bar. Keyblade user, Stitch said excitedly, which caused the bar to go silent in surprise. You're kidding, Tifa said with a smile, as she hasn't seen one in a long time. Well, I just got my Keyblade just an hour ago, Naruto said, slightly embarrassed, as he rubbed the back of his head. I'm surprised. Most Keyblade users are older, but you're around my age, Tifa said, as she slightly checked him out. Well, we all have to start somewhere, right? Naruto asked with a shrug. Very true, so what brings you here? Tifa asked him. Well, Merlin sent me here to look for someone who might have a ship, so I can go after whoever is controlling the Heartless and hopefully find my friend, Naruto said with his head down, as he remembered Hinata being taken. Allies, Stitch said, trying to get Naruto's attention. Oh right, and crew members, since the old man said I should have a crew that will watch my back, Naruto said, before he said to Stitch, thanks for reminding me, buddy. I know a few people that are itching to get even with the Heartless, Tifa said as she looked down the bar at a few people, who looked like they were those you don't want to mess with. Stitch looked and hid behind Naruto as he recognized someone. What's up, Stitch? Naruto asked him, curious what made him hide. Ah, Stitch had a bad encounter with Lulu before, Tifa said, giggling at the memory. Mean which? Stitch said, as he shivered slightly. Black Mage Stitch, you know she hates being called that, Tifa said in a scolding manner. What did he do? Naruto asked with a smile, hoping for some blackmail material. He stole her Moogle doll and wouldn't give it back until she threw a ice spell at him, Tifa said with a chuckle. Cool. I could use a black mage on the team, as some magic might come in handy in the future, Naruto said as he got up. Naga, Stitch yelled, shaking his head, not liking this decision. Oh, relax, Stitch, she can't be that bad, Naruto said as he walked towards Lulu. Poor fool, Tifa thought with a smile, as Lulu was very good at intimidation, as she'd scared away several people who hoped to recruit her onto their team or to get a date from her. Excuse me? Naruto said to Lulu as he approached her table. She had black hair that went to her chin at the front, while the back was braided into 4 cornrows that went to her mid-back, while the top part was in a bun with 4 ornamented pins going through it, with 4 bead-tipped braids falling from it. She also had a necklace of purple round beads, a smaller one with white beads and one more with red and blue beads, along with rings and many earrings. She also had purple makeup and nail polish. She was wearing a low-cut dark gray and black dress that displays her cleavage, with 2 crossed belts on the upper part of each of her sleeves. The décolletage is trimmed in fur, with the hem and sleeves having ornate lace edges, and the lower front of her gown is made of a collection of interlaced belts. She also wore a corset and lace-trimmed stocking, and she had what looked like a toy bear on the table. Not interested in a date, Lulu said with her head down, sounding annoyed, like this was a common occurrence. No, I'm not here for that. I'm not that lucky, Naruto said to her. Lulu looked up, which allowed Naruto to see her red eyes, and looked at Naruto, where she then asked, so what do you want then? Look, I'll get to the point. I'm a Keyblade user and he was saying before she interrupted him. I'm in, Lulu said with a determined look. Wait, really? Naruto asked, surprised it was that easy. Yes, I have been waiting for a Keyblade user to come looking for a mage for his team, so I can find the ones controlling the Heartless, Lulu said with anger in her eyes and voice. Revenge seeker, Kurama said, as he could tell she had much pain. Shit, Naruto thought as he knew what that could do to a person, after seeing what Sasuke went through. Welcome to the team then, Lulu, he said, trying to be friendly to her, as he held out a hand. Well, aren't you a little charmer? Lulu said, taking his hand, and giving it a squeeze to test his strength, and was surprised when he didn't wince. So who's on your team so far? She asked. Just you and Stitch so far, Naruto said, pointing at Stitch, who hid behind Tifa. If he touches my doll, I'm having him stuffed, Lulu said as they walked over to the bar. Don't worry, I'll make sure he doesn't, Naruto said. Good, so who else is on this team? Lulu asked as she sat down on a stool as far away from Stitch as possible. Well, if you want a pilot and a ship, I have someone in mind, Tifa said, as she pointed at a corner of the bar at a man in armor. A Mandalorian? Good pick, but they are usually expensive, Tifa, Lulu said, as she'd seen some people having to scrap all their money together just to hire one. A what? Naruto asked in puzzlement. A Mandalorian. They're the best bounty hunters mercenaries that you'll ever find, Tifa said while wiping a glass clean. Well, it's worth asking at least, Naruto said as he walked over to the table. When he got there, he noticed a pod next to the Mandalorian, carrying a small green creature that looked like an elf almost. The creature looked at Naruto curiously. Hey little guy, Naruto said with a smile, as the small creature waved at him a little. What do you need, kid? The Mandalorian asked him, as he drank from his cup without taking off his helmet. Naruto slightly sweat-dropped, as he thought, reminds me of Kakashi-sensei, whenever he'd eat or drink something. He then said, I'm a Keyblade user and, before the Mandalorian raised a hand stopping him. Let me guess, you need a ship to go to other worlds and would like to hire me to help you fight the Heartless, the Mandalorian said. Naruto was silent before he gave a nod. What's your goal, kid? Revenge? The Mandalorian asked him, as he rested his head on his fist. No, I want to help other worlds and find any survivors from my world, Naruto replied. Well, if that's the case, I'll help you since because of the Heartless, I lost my chance to help Gragu here find his people, the Mandalorian said, as he gripped the table a little. The little elf-like alien looked up at his name being said, as he gave a coo. Then welcome to the team, ooh, Naruto said, not knowing the Mandalorian's name. Just call me Mando Kid, everyone basically does, he said with a shrug of his shoulders. Mando it is then. Come meet the others on the team, Naruto said, as he led Mando and Gragu to the bar. What did it cost you, blonde? Lulu asked as she drank some water. Nothing, mage, I'm doing this for free, Mando said, as he sat down next to Stitch. Awoa, he's adorable, Tifa said, gushing at Gragu. Stitch was looking at Gragu with interest before he made some funny faces, making Gragu giggle and clap his small hands at him. We may need a bigger ship, kid, Mando said, looking at the others. Oh, Merlin, Stitch said, having an idea. Oh yeah, I'm sure that he can help us, Naruto said, while giving a nod. Suddenly a poof of smoke appeared in the middle of the bar, and when it cleared it was Merlin who waved the smoke away so he could see better. Wow, talk about great timing, old man, Naruto said, surprised. Timing had nothing to do with it, my boy. I can see into the future, and I knew you and your new friends would need my help with something, Merlin said as he dusted his robe off. Wait, you can see everything before it happens? Naruto asked him, surprised. Yes, everything, Merlin said, sounding proud, as he gave a nod of his head. Everything? Merlin? Lulu asked, with a knowing look on her face. Oh, Miss Lulu, Merlin said, recognizing the black mage. All right, I didn't know what you needed, but I knew the exact place where you would need me, he answered as he crossed his arms with a slight pout. It's okay, you are still cool to me, old man, Naruto said with a smile and getting a laugh from Tifa at how easygoing he was. So what do you need, my friends? Merlin said, as he rubbed his hands together making a few sparks appear. My ship isn't big enough to carry everyone, Mando said. Ah, a Mandalorian, very good to find, Naruto. Well, let's see this ship so I can see what I'm working with, Merlin said to them. Mando led the way out of the Seventh Heaven bar, with Gragu's pod following closely behind him. Thanks for the help, Tifa, Naruto said with a smile, as he got up to leave with his new crew. Hold on, I'm coming with you, Tifa said as she walked around the bar to join them. Not to be rude or anything, but can you fight? Naruto asked her, not wanting to put his new friend in danger. Stitch started laughing hearing this, as he'd seen Tifa throwing out rowdy people plenty of times. Lulu had a small smile, as she had seen Tifa throw people 3 times her size out of the bar when she was really mad. Well, you have done it now, kid, Mando said, sounding amused as Tifa approached Naruto with a smile. What did I? Naruto was saying before Tifa grabbed his hand and flipped Naruto onto his back hard. Welcome aboard, you 3, he said deliriously, as he saw 3 Tifas standing over him. Stitch started laughing harder, and went up to Naruto waving his paw at him. How many? He asked, holding up 3 fingers. 9, Naruto asked, unsure. Maybe we should recruit a white mage while we're at it, Lulu said, shaking her head at Naruto, but she had a small smile as she found this amusing. Tifa gave a nod, as they were all pretty much fighters, with some of them maybe knowing some first aid. What's a white mage? Naruto asked, as he got up while holding his head. They pretty much heal and support the team, Lulu said. Oh, a medic, Naruto said, nodding in understanding. No one? Stitch asked Tifa. Tifa put her gloved hand to her chin in thought. Well, I know one that's in town, but she's a newbie. She lives in the hotel next door, she said to them. What's their name? Naruto asked curiously. Her name is Garnet Boo, Tifa was saying before Naruto took off to go next door. The princess who ran away from her mother? Really? Lulu asked. As if they took a runaway princess with them, it would get bad attention from people who were looking for her mother. She's the only one I know who's good enough, Tifa replied with a shrug. Keyblade user needs support healers, Stitch said as he went after Naruto. She's a total greenhorn, she hasn't even been outside her castle before arriving in town 3 days ago, Lulu said with a shake of her head. It's the only option we have, Lulu, unless you want to ask Yuna to quit the Gullwings, Tifa said, as she crossed her arms while raising an eyebrow at Lulu. Lulu scoffed. She is having too much fun with Riku to come back, so I guess Garnet is our only option, she said as they left to follow after Naruto and Stitch. Front desk of the hotel next door. Excuse me, I'm looking for someone named Garnet, Naruto said to an older-looking woman with big hair and what looked like a dog's nose. She had quite an hourglass figure with a sizable chest that was made obvious and somewhat hidden by her baggy sweater and a very plump and round ass that was accentuated by her tight white pants. For the last time, you bounty hunters need to get lost, the woman yelled as she picked up a metal baseball bat. Whoa, I'm friendly, Naruto yelled as he summoned his Keyblade, making the woman stop as she'd half raised the bat at him. Well, a Keyblade user, didn't expect one to show up. I thought my fat-ass ex-husband had them all busy with his world conquest bull, she said, before placing the bat down. Yay, I'm a Keyblade user, miss, Naruto asked, hoping for a name. Call me Peg, sweetie, the woman said. As for Garnet, she told me to call her down if a Keyblade user showed up looking for a white mage. That's why you are here, right? She asked, as she raised her bat again just in case. Naruto gave a nod, as he said, Yup, sure am, as he slightly got back in case she hit him with the bat. Peg smiled as she put her bat down. Hey Garnet, we have a Keyblader, a real cutie too, she yelled, getting looks from the other guests. Naruto rubbed his head in embarrassment as people looked at him in interest. Looks like she's asleep. Hold on, I'll go get her, Peg said, heading for the stairway upstairs. Hold on, if she's asleep I'll come back later, Naruto said, not wanting to make a bad first impression by waking up this Garnet from a nap. Peg smiled at Naruto. Well, aren't you considerate? Look, she told me to wake her up if a Keyblader showed up. So that is what I'm gonna do, she said as she headed upstairs. Naruto watched Peg as she went upstairs, when she stopped and looked at Naruto. You checking me out? Peg asked with a smirk as Naruto went red. And no, I mean why yes, I damn it, Naruto said as he looked away as he was looking at her ass. Peg laughed at Naruto's reaction. Still got it, she said, sounding proud as she walked upstairs. She went towards the room that Garnet was sleeping in and lightly knocked on the closed door. Garnet? Are you awake? She asked, and when no response came she turned the knob and opened the door. As she entered the room, she saw a young girl fast asleep on a bed, with her black hair spread about on the bed. Peg smirked and had an idea to wake her up. Well, I guess you don't want to meet the Keyblader that is here looking for a white mage, she yelled loudly. I'm up, Miss Peg. Where's the Keyblader? Garnet said, getting up all flustered, as her brown eyes darted about. He's downstairs, and I told you to call me just Peg, Peg said, sighing, as she had to remind Garnet of this often. But she was royalty, so she insisted on being polite to people, which was refreshing coming from royalty. Finally, now I can go to other worlds and find a way to save my mother, Garnet said as she got up and stretched her arms out wide, while giving a yawn before she started getting dressed. Peg sighed hearing this, as she had heard rumors that her mother, Queen Braun, was a real tyrant, so she didn't believe she was being manipulated like Garnet thought, but she said nothing just in case it was true. Meanwhile, with Naruto downstairs. Hey kid, a gruff man said as he entered. He looked a little scruffy, as he had a full beard and his hair looked wild and untamed too. He was wearing a pair of blue long jeans, a white t-shirt, and a black jacket. What do you need? Naruto asked, as this guy looked like he was all business. Heard you were a Keyblade user, and I wanted to see if you were tough enough to fight what's out there, the guy said, as he slightly cracked his knuckles. You want to spar? Naruto asked, surprised. You scared, bub? The man asked. Naruto gained a determined look on his face, as he said, Not on your life, Pops. Let's do this outside. I don't want Peg threatening me with her bat again. Logan snorted hearing this, before saying, "Sure thing, kid," as they both headed outside. With Tifa. "I can't believe you, Stitch. You slowed us down with you going and getting in trouble with the merchants again," Tifa said as her, Lulu and Stitch finally returned to the town square near the hotel and Seventh Heaven. "Hungry," Stitch said, like it was obvious. "You are more trouble than you are worth sometimes," Lulu said, sighing, as controlling Stitch was harder than herding cats. "Hey, what's going on?" Tifa asked, as a crowd was forming around the front of the hotel. "Logan is fighting the new Keyblade Master," a kid said excitedly. "Great, Naruto is dead then," Lulu said, as Logan had a reputation for not holding back. "Actually, the Keyblade user is holding his own fairly well against Logan," a lady said, as she had an impressed look on her face. "You're kidding?" Tifa said, as she thought Naruto was just a village teen. "Look for yourself," the woman said, as she pointed where the fight was happening. Naruto and Logan were trading blows, with Logan slashing at Naruto with his claws, which Naruto blocked with his Keyblade. "Not bad, kid. You aren't a newbie, are you?" Logan asked, as they slightly separated from each other to catch their breath. "With a Keyblade, yes. In general, no. I'm actually a well-trained ninja back home," Naruto told him. "Great, a ninja. Hope Yuffie doesn't find out," Tifa thought, as her ninja friend would probably flip and be excited to meet Naruto if she found out. "What was your world called?" Logan asked curiously, thinking he might have heard of it. "The Elemental Nations," Naruto said proudly. "Never heard of it," Logan said flatly, making Naruto face fall into the ground with his leg twitching in the air. "Okay, what the hell is going on?" Peg yelled as she came out with Garnet, holding her metal baseball bat threateningly. "Oh hell, Logan, are you starting shit again?" Peg asked as she smacked Logan hard in the head with her bat. "Geez, Peg, it was just a spar," Naruto said, as even he thought that was too far. "Oh, relax, he has a healing factor. That was a love tap for him," Tifa said, pointing at Logan, who got up and showed his wound on his head was already healed. "Huh, never thought I'd meet someone who had a healing factor like me," Naruto said out loud. "Oh great, two meatheads that can fight for hours on end," Peg said as she rolled her eyes. "Anyway, Whiskers, this is Garnet," she said, as Garnet walked forward with a wooden staff in her hands. She was wearing a white bell-sleeved blouse that was under a skin-tight sleeveless orange jumpsuit, with a corset lacing in the front and back with large white buckles on the thighs. She also wore a pair of red leather gloves and red ankle boots, while having a black choker with a large crystal that was suspended from a long silver pendant. Cute, Naruto thought as Garnet approached him. "Are you okay? Do you need healing?" she asked him in concern. "Nah, I'm okay. It was just a spar," Naruto said with a smile as he waved her off. Stitch approached and started sniffing Garnet curiously as Naruto picked him up. "Manners, Stitch," Naruto said as he put Stitch on his shoulder. "So you are going to other worlds?" Garnet asked hopefully. "Yup. I'm looking for my friends and the jerks that are controlling the Heartless," Naruto said with a determined look. "I am looking for a way to help my mother. Would we be able to look for a way to do that while we travel?" Garnet asked him, with a hopeful look in her eyes. "Well, you are part of the team, so of course, I don't abandon teammates," Naruto said with a smile as he ruffled her hair. "Watch how familiar you get with her, kid. She's a princess," Logan said as Garnet sighed as she fixed her hair. "Mr. Logan, I don't like to announce that," she said to him, in a tired sort of voice as though she expected Naruto to act like everyone else and bow to her. "Oh cool, I'm surprised a princess wants to go on adventures to other worlds," Naruto said with a smile. Garnet was surprised that Naruto acted as though her being a princess wasn't that big a deal. "So anyway, welcome to the team, Garnet," Naruto said as he held out his hand to her. Garnet took his hand and shook it, with a smile of her own. "Oh, before you go, Whiskers, if you see my fat-ass husband Pete on your travels, don't underestimate him. He's stupid, but he has magic and the Heartless on his side," Peg said as she went back into her hotel. "No problem, Peg, I'll kick his ass if I see him," Naruto yelled to Peg with a smile as Peg waved goodbye to them. "Great, now let's get going. Mando is waiting with Merlin on his ship," Lulu said. "Hold on, Lulu," Naruto said as he approached Logan. "What do you need, kid?" Logan asked with his arms crossed. Well, I can see you're a good fighter, and something tells me I can trust you. So I was thinking, you want to join my team? Naruto said with a smile. This got looks of surprise from everyone, as most people tend to avoid Logan since he's so brutal. Logan looked at Naruto, like he was trying to get a read on him. Well, you're going after the Heartless, so sure kid, this town is boring anyway, Logan said, as he gave a shrug of his shoulders. Great, another battle-crazy wild card, Lulu grumbled, looking at Stitch as he was picking his nose with his tongue. Lead the way to the ship, Tifa, Naruto said with a smile, as they all started walking to the docks. Docks. Okay, what did you do, old man? Mando asked as Merlin walked out of his ship with a satisfied smile. I added rooms for everyone, a kitchen, a training room, and a nursery for this little one, Merlin said as he handed a toy knight to Gragu, who cooed at the new toy. You added rooms for everyone, old man? Naruto asked as he arrived with the others. Yes, I saw in the future who will be joining your crew, and made rooms that fit them. But the rooms won't open until they are there, so no spoilers, I'm afraid, Merlin said with a knowing smile. Wow, thanks, old man, Naruto said, glad Merlin was looking out for him. We aren't done yet, young man. I have a couple more things for you before you and your team leave, Merlin said as he approached Naruto and his group. Merlin pulled out what looked like a big spellbook. This is a journal for your journey. It will automatically record what happens to you all on your journey. It will also have information on worlds and people you encounter, he said as he levitated it to Naruto's group with his magic. I'll take this, I love to read, Garnet said as she took the book. There is a spell in that book that you will find useful too. It will allow friends you have made in other worlds to visit Traverse Town if you use the spell to mark an area, Merlin said to them. Oh cool, like my dad's technique, Naruto said, nodding in understanding. Ah yes, the yellow flash I believe, as the book told me about you, Merlin said as he gave a nod. Let's go already, Stitch yelled from the pilot's chair, as he was impatient to get going. Oh no you don't, you little freak, Mando yelled, as he marched over before pulling Stitch out of the seat. My ship makes me the pilot. Stupid head, Stitch said, as he pouted that he couldn't drive. My money is on the alien, Logan said with a grin, as he could sense a fight about to start. I'm on a crew of idiots, Lulu grumbled as she, Tifa, and Garnet boarded the ship. We better go before Mando kills Stitch. We will be back soon, old man, Naruto said as he held out a hand towards Merlin. Stay safe and watch each other's backs, Merlin said, as he shook Naruto's hand before Naruto then turned and boarded the ship, where it then powered up and took off. Mando's ship. Wow, was it always this spacious? Tifa asked as the ship was pretty nice on the inside now. I may not understand magic, but at least it gets results, Mando said as he put Gragu in a playpen, with some toys that Merlin put in the ship. How long till the first world? Naruto asked, as he looked out the window. Eager to get to hunting some heartless kid? Logan asked with a grin. Not really, I want to find my friends and seal the keyholes so no more worlds are destroyed by them, Naruto answered, with a look of determination. Well, at least you have your priorities straight, Tifa said, as she leaned against the wall. So how long? Naruto asked Mando, since it was his ship. We should be there soon, according to the autopilot, Mando said as he looked at the computer. So what kind of world are we headed to? Lulu asked curiously. No idea, since unless you have been there before, the computer won't tell me until we arrive, Mando said with a shrug. Ooh, surprise, Stitch said excited, as he clapped his hands. Yay, being surprised can be fun, huh buddy? Naruto asked Stitch with a smile. The ship suddenly stopped, and the computer lit up. New world discovered. Name of world, Metroville, the computer said. Looks like a city, Logan said, as he looked at the world from footage from the computer scanners. Stitch started getting excited at the idea of entering a city. Freeze, you little troublemaker. I don't want any nonsense from you, Tifa said, as she knew Stitch loved to cause chaos in cities that he visited. So what's the plan? We land and scare the civilians? Lulu asked. No. Merlin added teleporters, thankfully, Mando said, as he put Gragu in his pod. You sure bringing him is a good idea? Garnet asked, as they would most likely face Heartless here. Kid stays with me, cause where I go he goes, Mando said sternly, leaving no arguments. Garnet held her hands up as she didn't want to get on the wrong side of him. Relax, we are all capable of protecting him too. Ain't that right, little guy? Naruto asked as he smiled at Gragu, who gave a giggle. Okay, but I want Stitch to watch him, Garnet said, as she wanted someone always watching him, since he's just a child. Stitch nodded in agreement, as he liked Gragu as he said, aye, and saluted Garnet like a general. At ease, General, Naruto said with a smile as they all got on the teleporters, and Mando activated it with a device on his wrist. Ally in the city. Shining beams of light appeared before they faded away to reveal everyone. That felt weird, Naruto said as he shook his head. Tifa nodded as she said, yeah, it'll take some getting used to. Stitch held his mouth, as his face was green from the motion sickness before he ran over and threw up behind a garbage bin. Well, that's a nice image when you first enter a new world, Lulu said, sarcasm lacing her words, as Stitch returned to them, wiping his mouth. Mando used the scanner on his helmet to get a look at the general area. The Heartless are here, he said to everyone with a serious tone. Wait, you can scan for Heartless? Naruto asked, surprised. Mando nodded as he pointed nearby as a bunch of Heartless ran by without noticing them. Why do they look like mole people? Logan asked, as that looked stupid to him. Garnet pulled out the book Merlin gave her and flipped through it until she found the right page. Apparently, the Heartless change forms to fit their environment or their summoner's wishes, she explained to everyone. Great, so it's someone with a thing for moles we are looking for, Naruto said, as they all headed for the street. Suddenly, they heard a woman scream, and when they looked they saw a robber running with a woman's purse in his hands and heading for a rooftop. I'm on it, Naruto said, as he walked up a wall to pursue the man. Wait, we need to find the heart, Lulu was saying, but Naruto was already gone. I'll get started on a more comprehensive scan, while Stitch and Tifa you go get Naruto, Mando said as he flew to a rooftop with his jetpack, so he could get a better range for scanning for the Heartless. Fine, let's go get our fearless leader, Stitch, Tifa said, before she leapt to the roofs. Stitch gave a laugh as he scrambled up the walls while using his claws to dig into the walls to climb. With Naruto. Naruto was sneaking up on the guy who robbed the woman as he was currently searching through the purse. Not very smart to look at what you were able to steal when you are not safe yet, Naruto said, surprising the man, who jumped and turned to look at him and pulled out a gun. Look, new hero, I don't want to shoot ya, but, he was saying until a fist stretched over to him and slugged him hard in the jaw, which knocked him out. Naruto looked at where the stretching arm returned and saw a woman in a red and white skin-tight outfit, with the body being white and the gloves and boots being red along with a red mask over her eyes and a red hairband holding her hair in place. Wow, Naruto thought, looking at this woman, as this woman was slightly older than him, but had a great body with great legs and thighs. Now, who are you, handsome? The mystery woman asked him with her fists on her hips, as she slightly checked him out while thinking, he looks kind of cute. Naruto shook his head and looked at the woman. This guy stole a purse and I followed him up here, before you got the jump on him. Good job, by the way, Naruto said. The woman was surprised that he had no problem with her taking out the criminal before her, as most of the heroes would get an attitude with her, since she's a woman and they'd say that hero work is no place for a lady. So you're a hero, huh? Must be new, you don't even have a mask. The name's Elastigirl. What's yours? She asked him. Naruto, nice to meet you. I like your name, sounds very flexible, he said with a smile. Elastigirl laughed at this, as she said, I like you, Blondie, that's my go-to line actually. Great minds think alike then, Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head. Well, it's nice to know you're making friends already, Tifa said as she and Stitch arrived on the rooftop. Stitch looked at Elastigirl and sniffed her. This your sidekick Blondie? Elastigirl asked him as she looked at Stitch. Interesting choice for a sidekick for a new hero, she said looking at Stitch. Sidekick? Tifa asked, as she had never heard the term before. You know, like a partner for when you're being a superhero, Elastigirl said. Superhero, Stitch yelled excitedly, as he ran over to a clothing line and took a red towel and made himself a cape and took a bikini top and put it on his head. After he was done, he struck a heroic pose and said, Super Stitch, save the day. Naruto, Tifa, and Elastigirl looked at Stitch flatly when Naruto laughed. "Good attitude, Stitch, but your outfit needs work," he said as he chuckled a little. "You are like a child, I swear," Tifa said as she made Stitch put the clothes back. "Is he a science experiment or something?" Helen asked as she looked at Stitch with interest. Stitch said, nodding. "We need to get back. Mando thinks he will have a reading on the Heartless soon," Tifa said to Naruto, who nodded in understanding. "Heartless? What's that?" Elastigirl asked them curiously. Naruto stopped and thought, as this was a delicate situation. But after thinking, he made a decision. One explanation later, and Helen had a pale look on her face. "Destroy my world?" she said, as she couldn't believe what she'd just heard. "Yes, and we need to find whoever is controlling the Heartless here and stop them. And also seal the keyhole to protect your world," Tifa said. "Naruto," Mando's voice called out as he landed on the rooftop thanks to his jetpack. "You find the Heartless yet?" Naruto asked him, as he hoped for some good news. "Yes, they are nearby being controlled by some fat cat person," Mando said, as he pulled up a holographic image of the person. "Grrrrrrrrrr," Stitch growled, as he recognized the person in the image. "Great, it's Pete," Tifa said with a sigh, as she dealt with him in the past many times, like when he tried attacking Traverse Town. "Peg's ex?" Naruto asked, as Peg had mentioned that her ex-husband was on the bad side of things. "Who cares? Lead the way, Tin Man. I'll be damned if my world is destroyed by some fat cat asshole," Elastigirl said as she cracked her knuckles, sounding determined. "You may want to call backup while we confront him," Naruto said as he, Tifa, and Stitch followed after Mando. Elastigirl gave a nod as she said, "I have the perfect people in mind to help," before she ran off to find them. "With Logan." "Okay, bub, you're starting to make me mad," Logan said, as he and the others attacked the Moment Heartless. As Pete watched, while he had a sadistic grin on his face. "Well, keep getting mad, Mutie. This isn't your business anyway. I thought you were too busy being drunk in Traverse Town. Why are you here anyway?" Pete asked. "Kid with a keyblade asked me to help him, so that's why I'm here," Logan said, as he stabbed a Heartless in the head with his claws. Pete was stunned for a moment, before he laughed as he said, "Good one, you almost had me going there. Why would a keyblader ask you for help, since you were helpless to stop Maleficent from destroying your world? So what makes you think you have a chance now?" he asked. He then added, "And if I see this keyblade user, I'll just have him turned into a Heartless, like I did with all the others." "They just keep coming," Lulu said, as she fired some fire spells at the Heartless. Some Heartless were about to attack, when a barrier blocked them, sending them back a few feet. Lulu looked, and saw Garnet's staff glowing red. "Didn't know you knew Reflect Princess," she said, as that was an advanced spell. "Focus, ladies, that won't hold for long," Logan yelled at them, as the Heartless approached. Suddenly Naruto jumped down from a rooftop, and slashed through several Heartless in an instant, making them disappear. Tifa jumped down, and dropped her heel on the floor, making a shockwave that sent some Heartless flying in all directions. Mando flew down, and let loose his arm-mounted flamethrower at the Heartless, as he burned them to a crisp. "Dang, they have backup," Pete said unhappily. As he turned around, he saw Stitch blocking his path, as he bared his teeth at Pete. "Get lost, you flea-bitten freak, Pete was saying, before Stitch picked up a car and smashed Pete into the concrete with it repeatedly, before giving a sigh of satisfaction when he saw the state Pete was in. "Geez, Merlin wasn't kidding when he said you were a powerhouse," Naruto said as he approached Stitch, after the Heartless were gone. Stitch smiled at the praise, as he flexed his arms a little. "Okay, fatty, start talking. Why are you here?" Naruto asked, as he grabbed Pete by the front of his shirt. "Why should I tell you anything?" Pete groaned, as he was still recovering from Stitch's beat down on him. "Because the next person to ask you will be Logan and Stitch," Naruto said with a grin, which caused Pete to pale, as Logan unsheathed his claws and Stitch laughed maniacally as he cracked his knuckles. "Maleficent sent me to destroy this world, since it has superheroes like that other world she destroyed. She didn't want this world becoming a problem like that one was," Pete said, as he looked between Stitch and Logan, not wanting either of them to get near him. Logan growled at the mention of his world, as he snarled out, "So that witch went after my home because it had heroes? he demanded as he grabbed Pete and put his claws to his face. Pete paled, even more seeing his claws, and he sweated a little bit too. Yes, most worlds have 2 or 3 heroes tops, while yours had dozens. So she made your world a target, he yelled in fear, hoping that Logan would spare his life. Are there more survivors from my world? Logan asked, as he hoped there was. I have no clue, most likely since a lot of those heroes had hearts like yours, Pete yelled out, as he tried to pull away from Logan. Wrong answer, bub, Logan said, but before he could stab Pete, Naruto stopped him. He's helpless, Logan. There is no point in killing him, Naruto said, as he tried to calm Logan down. Logan glared at Pete and let him go, making Pete hit the ground with a thud as he passed out. So what's next? Logan asked Naruto, hoping that he had a plan. We look for the keyhole. Most likely whoever is controlling the Heartless here is heading there, Naruto said as he turned to Mando. On it, kid, in a moment, Mando said as he pushed a switch in his helmet. Naruto, Elastigirl called out as she arrived with 2 other heroes. One was a big guy in a blue and black suit, with an eye in the middle, while the other guy had a visor which showed the bottom part of his face, revealing a small beard and mustache, and he wore a white suit. Little late, Elastigirl, we already took out Pete, Naruto said as they walked over to them. This is Mr. Incredible and Frozone. And where is he? Elastigirl asked as she looked around for him. He's right, Naruto said, as when he turned to look they all saw Pete was gone. That cowardly tub of, Logan said angrily, without swearing as Gragu was present. Must have fled back to the witch, Mando said, referring to Maleficent. Remind me to ask who that is later, but for now we need to find that keyhole, Naruto said. Got it now, kid. A big group of Heartless are at Town Hall where a giant drill is. That must be where it is, Mando said. Elastigirl and her 2 friends recognized the drill from Mando's description and groaned. Know who this is? Lulu asked them. The Underminer, Mr. Incredible, said with a sigh of annoyance. Guy is mentally unhinged, Frozone said, as he twirled his finger next to his head. Well, let's get going. Otherwise your world is doomed, Naruto said as he led them all towards Town Hall. Outside Town Hall. That's it, my minions, dig. Once we find this keyhole, I shall have ultimate power. The Underminer yelled in glee as his Momen Heartless dig in front of Town Hall. Are you serious? You think it's a power source? Naruto asked as him and his allies arrived on the scene. Wow, he is unhinged, Garnet said looking at the man. Underminer, stop. If you lead the Heartless to the keyhole, then our world will be destroyed, Mr. Incredible yelled to him. I don't care, as I was promised ultimate power if I did this, he replied to him as he gave a manic laugh. Then you leave us no choice, Elastigirl said, as she slugged a Heartless in the gut. What she said, Mando said, as he launched some mini missiles from his wrists that flew at the swarm of Heartless. Geez, you took out a dozen of them with that stunt, Tifa said as she kicked a Heartless into another, knocking them both down. Yay, but I can't reload quickly, Mando said, as he pulled a metal spear from his back and started stabbing at the Heartless and hitting them with it too. Protect, Garnet yelled as a blue aura covered the team, raising their defense. Fira, Lulu yelled as a wave of fire swarmed some of the Heartless, burning them to ashes. Logan was running through a group of Heartless people, cutting through them with his claws like a hot knife through butter, without slowing down one bit. Stitch was bouncing around, rolled up into a ball, knocking over every Heartless he hit, with Frozone freezing them in place. Geez, where did Helen find these guys? Mr. Incredible whispered to Frozone as he punched any that came near him. Naruto was slashing through the Heartless, making his way to the Underminer with Elastigirl backing him up. Eventually they made it to the Underminer, with Naruto pointing his keyblade at him. Game over, Naruto said, as he gave the Underminer a glare. Surrender or get hurt, your choice, Elastigirl said, as she cracked her knuckles. Go to hell, Underminer said, as he went to slug Naruto with his metal arm. Naruto blocked with his keyblade, but the force of the punch sent him skidding back some feet. Helen jumped at the Underminer and wrapped around him and tried to restrain him. Naruto, hit him now, Helen yelled as she strained to hold him in place. Naruto nodded as he picked up his keyblade and jumped at the Underminer and struck him in the head with it, which caused a bright light to shine from the Underminer as he fell to the floor, passed out. "Good save, Elastigirl," Naruto said as he helped her up off the ground. "Hey, his minions are disappearing," Mr. Incredible said, as the Heartless disappeared into black dust. "Naruto," Tifa called out, pointing at the hole the Heartless were digging as a bright light shot out and made a keyhole appear above City Hall. "Naruto, seal it up," Garnet yelled at him. Naruto nodded as he pointed his keyblade at the keyhole and a beam of light shot out of his blade. And when it hit the keyhole, a locking sound was heard as the keyhole disappeared in a flash of light. Naruto sighed in relief as he could sense that this world was now safe from Heartless attacks. "Not bad for a first adventure," Logan said as he lit a cigar and gave it a puff. "We won," Tifa yelled happily as she smiled, with her arms raised into the air. Lulu approached Garnet, who was panting from this fight. "Not bad, princess," she said as she handed her a bottle of water, which Garnet took as she gave Lulu a nod of thanks before taking a swig. Mando sat down and looked at Gragu, who was looking at him with concern. "I'm fine, kid, don't worry," he said, which perked Gragu up. "I'm hungry," Stitch yelled as he held his stomach. Okay, let's go eat back at the ship," Naruto said, as they got ready to leave. "Hold it, Blondie," Elastigirl said, as she approached Naruto. "What'd I do?" Naruto asked as Helen sounded mad at him. "If you think I'm just gonna let other worlds suffer, then you don't know me that well," Elastigirl said with her hands on her hips. "We just met," Naruto said to her. "Whatever, I'm saying I'm coming with you guys, and if you don't like it, tough," Elastigirl said, as she went and stood next to Naruto. Naruto blinked in surprise, but smiled nonetheless. "Hey, no problems from me, you were fantastic in that fight. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have had that opening to beat Mole Boy," he said, as he gestured at the Underminer who was still knocked out. Helen gave a blush at his praise, before giggling at what he called the Underminer. "Cool, another fighter. Now let's go, I'm starving too," Logan said, as he still had his cigar in his mouth. "Yes, I already set up the seal so we can get visitors from this world in Traverse Town," Garnet said to everyone. "Okay, Mando, get us back to the ship," Naruto said. Mando nodded as he pushed a button, and they all disappeared in a flash of light. "Those guys were pretty cool," Frozone said, as he gave a small laugh at making a cold joke. "That means a lot coming from you, huh?" Mr. Incredible said as he laughed, while patting Frozone on his shoulder as he unintentionally knocked him to the ground. "I am very disappointed in you, Pete," a woman's voice said, as Pete was kneeling before a throne. "Indeed, not only did this fool flee the new Keyblader, but they sealed the keyhole," a man with a snake staff said, as he glared down at Pete. "Oh, relax, my friend, it was only one world, there are plenty of others to take hearts," from a man with a top hat and a living shadow said. "Probably best to take this brat out, since even though he's new the Keyblader is still a problem," a man with flaming blue hair said. "Won't be easy to do so, he has a team backing him, unlike the other Keybladers we turned into Heartless," a woman with what looked like pixie wings said. "They all look like bilge rats to me," a man with a hook for a hand said. "You're no prize yourself," an octopus woman said, as she laughed. "Shut up," the man with a hook said in anger, as he drew a gun and pointed it at the octopus woman. "Enough," a woman's voice called out, as a figure stepped forward showing a woman with green skin and her hair made into horns. "Keyblade or no Keyblade, we shall deal with this nuisance in time. As for now, we shall continue to seek and gather the 7 princesses of heart. We only have one so far, from that ninja world, and she's not that lively Maleficent," the woman with pixie wings said, as she crossed her arms. "Yes, Narissa, I am aware of that. I will focus on fixing that. As for you, I want all of you to get back to your worlds for now and await further orders," Maleficent said to them. The other figures nodded as they left the room. "You disappoint me, Pete, and I had such high hopes for you," Maleficent said, as she went and sat on the throne. "Please, give me another chance," Pete begged her. "Very well, I will let you continue to serve me. But next time, you will answer to my master should you fail again," Maleficent said. "No, there is no need to involve the Horned King. I will not fail," Pete said, as he had a look of horror about Maleficent's master. "Good. Now go search for one of the 7, Maleficent said, as she waved her hand at him. "Of course, mistress," Pete said, as he left the room. Maleficent looked at the image of Naruto and his friends. "Soon I will have an answer for this boy and his powers," Maleficent thought, with a grin at the asset she acquired from Naruto's world, before it was destroyed. A drawing is shown of Naruto looking up at the clear crescent moon sky. The images that followed were of him growing up as a little boy towards his path as a keyblade wielder. A rainbow trail goes by leading to images of Naruto and his friends facing down heartless. Pictures of Rapunzel with her flowing golden hair, Elsa dancing in the snow, Merida shooting her arrow at a dartboard, Alice drinking tea alongside her friends in Wonderland, Belle reading books to Chip, Ariel swimming through the sea, Jasmine looking out towards the night sky, Aurora dancing in the forest with her animal friends, Elian sitting on her bed drawing in her journal, Snow White riding alongside her beloved Prince Charming towards a castle, and finally Hinata holding out her hand towards Naruto. The canvas shows up pitch black, but lights begin to flash again and again, while a ring of key blades is formed encircling around a drawing of Traverse Town, spreading out linking the various worlds illuminated by multicolored lights. A drawing of Naruto and his team is shown at the end with little Gragu looking up, smiling as he holds up his crayons. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and authors KFB Anime 87 and Thanatos 125 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.